We are not a debating society. We want to solve the world drug problem.
Let me take you back to 1998, at the opening of the special session, when the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan, said, and I quote, "It is my hope that they will record this at the time when the international community found common ground in the mission to create momentum towards a drug-free world in the 21st century."
10 years ago, the UNGAS came up with the slogan, "It's a drug-free world, we can do it," or "Drug-free world by 2008, I think was their first goal. Clearly, that hasn't been achieved. What we need to be looking at are ways to reduce overall use, because that will lead to less problematic use, but really focus on misuse or problematic use, and not so much whether we eliminate drugs altogether, because that's a totally unrealistic goal, and I think will do nothing but demoralize people involved in the process if that's what they're aiming towards. But if we can reduce use overall slightly, and we can reduce the harms associated with both drugs and drug policy, I think that would be a much more realistic goal for the CND to adopt in their 2009 10-year drug strategy.
Well, it was a stupid slogan then, and it's even a stupider one now, because drug-free isn't just about illicit drugs. And so we live in a world in which people are being continually programmed to look for pharmaceutical ways to address their problems. So the idea that you could have a drug-free world in a world where new products are being put out every day for conditions people didn't even know they had is absurd.
Until the world is a perfect place, people are going to use drugs for a variety of reasons, for amelioration of illness. Secondly, drugs serve a religious purpose in some people, a spiritual purpose, and that needs to be recognized. Or a cultural purpose too, that's third. And fourth, drugs give some people pleasure, and I put that in the area of alcohol, which is a very dangerous drug, but it gives people pleasure and it's allowed.
A simple question. In Holland we have cannabis is available for everybody who wants to use it and who is an adult over 18 years. So there is no restriction on the personal use of cannabis and on possession of small quantities. Yet, the levels of use of cannabis in Holland are lower than in the countries surrounding us. And I said to you, this must be a problem for you. I would like to know how you explain this.
14 years ago, there were 2,600 coffee shops selling marijuana. In the Netherlands, there have been a decreasing number and size progressively. There are about 550 now. The administration of Amsterdam decided to move them out of the city, out of the red district, towards the borders of Germany, Belgium, and France. Obviously making clear that the government itself and the administration consider the experiment a failure.
Do you think that this is an answer to my question? Oh, I hear you. This is your willingness to be challenged.
Oh, come on. Stop. I mean, I'm not here for a personal debate. We are not a debating society. We want to solve the world drug problem.
One study in the world which compares two cities in two countries using identical methodology to try and work out what happens to cannabis. And that's a study that Craig Reineman from California and Peter Cohen from Amsterdam, where they compared cannabis consumption in more punitive San Francisco to cannabis consumption in more liberal Amsterdam. What they found was that the proportion of residents who had smoked cannabis more than 25 times was 39% in San Francisco, 12% in Amsterdam, whether they had been offered heroin, cocaine or amphetamine the last time they purchased cannabis. 51% of San Francisco residents, compared to 15% of Amsterdam residents, said that they had been offered these more serious illicit drugs. And so that's an argument for the separation of markets, which the Dutch have long believed to be something that they've achieved with their more liberal approaches to cannabis.
So when you hear debates about harm reduction, that basically is a debate, one of these debates. Are we most interested in reducing the number of drug users, or are we most interested in reducing the health problems that those drug users entail? Not only is there a need for balance between the scale of the market and the consequences of the market, we have to bravely acknowledge that our policies and our actions also have negative consequences. The fact of the matter is, all the economic analyses that have been made by organised crime is that one of its three main sources of income is illicit drugs. Yeah? So one of the unintended consequences of enforcing the drug control system is we're making some very bad people very rich.
What it does is create a prohibitionist policy based on abstention, eradication, that has brought misery, degradation and death to millions of people.